Honestly, like, I hate to admit it, but yeah, I thought if we don't get out of this, we're going to end up splitting up. And that is I chose a very good man for my child. I was thinking about what happens if we divorce, who gets what, do I live in the house, where does he go, like, if he has the child, when do I have the child? I did think about all those things.
Look at that. But how did you know? Because I think this is a question that so many people have, is you're in a relationship and you're trying to figure out, is this good for me? Is this right? How did you know?
It's hard to think back to that time because it was 9 years ago now. It was such a long time. But I think just the way that he was, like his personality, his humour, how he never, every boy that I'd been with had always kind of had like sly digs and kind of tried to put me down. And he was just like, listen, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm going to be here and you take as long as you need to bring your walls down, but this is who I am. It took me a long time to believe that he was, probably 6 months to believe that he was actually like this good of a person. I'd never met anyone like that before. But I think it was just through him showing me who he was and just holding space for me and who I was, and just not being judgmental, because every person I'd ever been with had had some kind of judgment towards me, and he never had a single ounce.
Look at that.
Which was great.
Look at that. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's so beautiful when someone will hold space for you.
100%.
And when they will do it consistently.
Especially as a 24-year-old boy. Like, we're 24 at this point. Like, that's young in today's day and age when you think about relationships and things. He still could have been like, I want to go out and get with more people. I'm still in the football world. And he was just like, no, I've had my fun. Like, you're the one I want to give it up for. And I was like, same.
Look at that. So then he gave it up, you gave it up.
Mm-hmm.
You guys became a team.
Yeah.
You know? So can we talk about motherhood?
Now, this is where it rips the relationship apart. You're a relationship expert. I would have said to you that mine and Jacob's relationship was perfect. I'd argue till I was blue in the face that our relationship was perfect until we had a child. And you'd think we didn't have a child till 6 years into the relationship, so we knew each other pretty well. We'd lived with each other all that time. But when you have a child, all of a sudden parts of you and parts of him that have never been seen before, never been shown, start to creep out. And it's like, whoa, hang on a second, this isn't what I thought you were, and I thought you had more patience than this. And him being the patient person that he was, he started to be a bit more snappy when Alpha Jax was a newborn, and I was like, whoa, you've changed. I started to be a bit more relaxed. I was the snappy one, and I wasn't used to seeing it in him. And honestly, that first year was really tough. Really, really tough, because we had a difficult baby, he whinged all the time, and nothing could make him happy. And bear in mind, Jacob wasn't playing football because he was injured, so he had no outlet. Me and him work from home, so we're stuck together all day.
Yes.
We have no help from family and friends, and he's not at nursery. So it's us, the baby, business, no one else.
And that's it. And when you think back to some of the more trying moments, what were those?
I think it's just the tiredness, the lack of sleep, the point scoring. It's always who's done more, who's got up, who's more tired. And that goes on for like such a long time. We were bickering all the time, and like he was raising his voice and he never raised his voice, and I'm shouting and he's matching my energy, and I'm like, oh, I'm not used to this. Like, this isn't right. And I genuinely must have Googled that first year. Am I too late to have postpartum depression? Like, so many times, because I heard that you had postpartum depression like in the early days, and I was like, I genuinely feel depressed. It feels like Groundhog Day, and I don't know how we're ever going to get out of this. We went from being attached to each other's bodies all day, like being so cuddly and affectionate. I used to call him baby, and then it was like, oh, I feel like I can't even call you these words anymore. These like little things that we used to do just felt weird to do. And I was like, oh my God, I just don't know if we're ever going to be able to get back to how we were. We did, eventually.
You did, but you felt that way. How do you believe he felt during that time?
Oh God, I think he was really struggling just through not having an outlet. Men need an outlet. Men need men to speak to at points, and he just didn't have that. Didn't have his family there. We didn't have any support. And I think he was just like, what have we got ourselves into? It was just really hard. Like, we were ready to have kids, but no one can prepare you for the huge life change that it is to have a child when you've been on your own for so long, and when all of a sudden everything is about this child and not about you. And I think he felt quite probably rejected and lonely at that point as well, because all my energy was going to like loving Alpha Jacks, and I was struggling to split my love. I felt like I had no affection left for him by the end of the day. So there was none for that whole first year. We just were not affectionate at all. And it was like, oh God, I hope we can actually come out of this. And thankfully we did.
Were there moments in that first year that you thought you may not come out of this?
Honestly, like, I hate to admit it, but yeah, I thought if we don't get out of this, we're going to end up splitting up. And that is I chose a very good man for my child. I made sure of it after everything that I went through of not having a father in my life. I wanted to make damn sure that the man that I chose was going to be a fucking incredible father. And if I don't do anything else in this life, I know I chose a great father for my son. But I wanted us to be together as a family. And I feel like there was points in that where I was like, oh my God, we're married. What happened? I was thinking about what happens if we divorce. Who gets what? Do I live in the house? Where does he go? Like, if he has the child, when do I have the child? I did think about all those things, and I hate to admit that I did think those. And I'm glad that it didn't come to that. But I can see why a lot of relationships fail in that first year.
Yes.
After having a baby. I feel like that is a fact, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, you're speaking all facts.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. Even that note about women knowing that they start to get over the breakup before.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, she's on top.
I could be a relationship expert.
I better
be on Celebs Go Dating next time. I'll be an expert.
Pull up a chair, Holly. Pull up a chair. But absolutely, you see a large breakup rate. You see a heavy dissatisfaction rate in the relationship. And you're right. You're trying to split times. You're tired. Resources drain. You know. You also mentioned a factor that ends up being one of the largest reasons why people break up, and that is that you don't have the support of your family and friends.
100%.
So it sounds like you both didn't have community.
We didn't have that village that everyone speaks about. It's our fault because we chose, he lived in Nuneaton, I lived in Middlesbrough, we met in the middle, which is Manchester. And once we had nursery, we were able to get back into work, get our time back. But honestly, it took 2 years.
What was the pivotal thing to happen to put you two back on course to be together, stronger?
I think as Alpha Jack started getting older and speaking and started to get a lot easier and started to actually give us back a lot, like in terms of lovingness and like just being what you expect a child to be. I know this is a weird thing to say, but it's like we felt robbed of the experience of the stage that everyone's like, oh, we love the 6-month-old, take them on holiday, they're amazing. I was moaned the whole time and screamed the plane down. Like, we didn't have that experience. So when we actually started getting this amazing experience when he turned 2, which is meant to be the terrible 2s, I mean, there probably could be if you had an easy baby, but our perspective of it is that it's amazing right now. And I think once he hit kind of 18 months to 2 years, it started we had more time together. We started prioritizing each other a bit more. We started making a point of saying, I love you when I leave the house, which we'd stopped doing.
There you go.
But you have to make an actual point of doing this and not just let it slide and actually have the conversations about it. Because I was like, we've stopped saying love you when we leave the house now. Do you think we should start saying it again? And it's just this awkward conversation that you probably need a therapist for, to tell you, like, maybe you should start doing that again. And I think we've been quite good at communicating our needs and what we do need. He wasn't getting the intimacy that he wanted. I, as a woman, my hormones are just that part of me. I wish I could have a bit of that hypersexual girl back again, because Jacob would be pleased. But for me, I'm just like, I couldn't think of anything worse. Like, I just got so much stress on. But we did come to an agreement, and it's like, from what I've read, a lot of women need to kind of get into it to then be like at the end, oh, that was actually great. Why don't we do that more often? But it's that saying yes to it that's painful, and you're like, oh, I really don't want to. But once you actually do, and you just make a point of doing that, you then have that intimacy again, and it is great. But you do have to make time for that. And unfortunately, it is unsexy to have to schedule time in your diary. But as a parent and business owner, you have to do that. So Wednesdays are great for...
Can I say? In that book behind you that I wrote called Keep Love, I have a full chapter on scheduling sex.
Really?
And there's a prevailing myth that scheduling sex is the least sexy thing that you can do.
Yeah.
But yet couples who schedule sex
Yep.
end up having higher satisfaction.
Yeah.
And you just succinctly describe the reason why.
100%.
Yeah. And then also, I think what was happening between the two of you is that as you become emotionally closer,
Yeah.
then there's a higher desire to want to even have any kind of physical connection with your partner.
100%. Yeah.
Now, would you say that you land in a place where you're stronger than where you began with your marriage?
Oh, 100%. And I think because, in those early days, you haven't gone through too much. We've gone through so much now that it's like, if we can get through that, we can get through anything. And I strongly believe now, like, yes, we're going to have another baby. Yes, it's going to be difficult. But I know the things that we need to do now to make sure that we don't let it slip as much as we did last time. And also, I know that I'm not going to have the thoughts of, are we going to split up? Because we've done it before. We've got through it. And if we've got through that first time, of course we can get through it again. And I used to say, like, oh, relationships are dead easy, like when they're meant to be. Once you have a child, they're not. And you do have to fight to stay in them, and you do have to do certain things and compromise. And I think it is all about compromise in a relationship, and just knowing that it does feel tough sometimes, and it does feel crap to compromise on things you don't want to compromise on, and especially when I think I'm in the right all the time. And he lets me get away with it a lot, but it's just, now I don't ever think we will ever split up. I know we'll be able to get through everything.